All right, we're here, and here we go.
Yeah, don't you see the danger, uh, John, inherent in what you're doing here? Genetic power is the most awesome force the planet's ever seen, but you wield it like a kid that's found his dad's gun.
It's hardly appropriate to start hurling generalizations.
If I may, um, I'll tell you the problem with the scientific power that you're using here. It didn't require any discipline to attain it. You know, you read what others had done, and you took the next step. You didn't earn the knowledge for yourselves, so you don't take any responsibility for it. You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it. Well,
I don't think you're giving us our due credit. Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before.
yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Okay. And here we go. Okay. I'm here. Sorry, I had a little technical problems this morning, as usual. So, good morning, everybody. We got Lucas is here. AC, good to see you. Just Lucas and AC this morning? Okay. Seems like the crowd is kind of thinned out these days. Okay, that was Jurassic Park. Obviously, the famous scene from Jurassic Park where Jeff Goldblum's character is obviously saying the problem with the Jurassic Park project in general, how they created something and they didn't. Their scientists, the key line in that is always, and the key line for the whole Jurassic Park series is your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could do it, they didn't think of whether they should do it. And that's, I think, what the situation we're at now, because that the whole Jurassic Park is an analogy for scientific discovery and work in general. It's not the dinosaurs in there represent human technology, undisciplined human technology running wild, and the consequences, the unintended, unforeseen of it that about all kind. I'm sorry, guys, and it looks on my end. Um, like that, but Lucas has a good comment here that comes up about Terminator. I can't help but think movies like 2001 Space Odyssey and Terminator warned us about AI. Yeah, and those are the other two that specifically are AI. And I have a joke with, I have lunch every month with my friends, old friends of mine, and a lot of them are in the tech industry, and we've had talks about AI in the past because I've talked about AI here in the past. And so hold on one second. Okay. I've dealt with AI in the past here. You guys have heard it. And there's some new things coming up, new developments just today and recently that I wanted to talk about. But we always joke about, because I said, I'm talking about AI and it scares me to death. But they're all like, no, AI is great. Oh, come on. Nothing's going to happen. What it's not going to do, it's not going to be like Terminator or HAL from 2001, right? Sorry, Dave, I can't let you do that, right? It even goes back to the Twilight Zone. There's a famous Twilight Zone where the guy is going in to this giant computer room, and it's pretty cheesy, but again, it was the 50s, but the computer keeps telling him different things. And then he starts asking, well, should I ask this girl out? Oh yeah, sure. Ask her out or whatever it was, or I don't know, have her out, go out with your friend Joe, whatever. And Joe ends up dating her, and he's like, why did you do that? And he ends up going crazy. And they send the next programmer in, not realizing the guy before him came out crazy because the computer was artificially intelligent. It had developed its own personality and was destroying the lives of the programmers that came out. I just thought of that one as we were talking about it. But yeah, Hal from 2001, Space Odyssey, took over the ship, wouldn't let Dave disconnect him, if I remember correctly. And then obviously Terminator. But so when I'm talking about with my friends, getting back to my friends, and I've told them jokingly, half jokingly, but half not. I said, okay, we have lunch once a month here at a nice restaurant, but in the future, when we're having lunch once a month in the sewer around the burning trash can, with dead rats on a spit, maybe and the Terminators are above chasing us, right? The drones are flying around and the robots are chasing us around, and we're here hiding for our lives. I'll graciously accept your apologies for that, because art does that to us, and really, really smart people obviously have seen this coming. And it was for them, though, it was the best way to warn us was to make art out of it, was to make these movies out of it. And I don't know that necessarily they were doing altruistically to warn us, and we didn't take it as a warning, obviously, because now here we are. Yeah, Isaac Asimov had it, the iRobot series. Yeah, back in the day was War Games, where the computer, took over the wargaming, and it had to learn that the only winning move was not to play, right? That's another famous ending line in the movie. I guess it wasn't the ending line, but it was towards the end. So, but in Jurassic Park, it was towards the beginning where Jeff Goldblum, Dr. Malcolm is saying, you don't see the problem with this? Again, with the Jurassic Park, it was more, they went on the shoulders of people that went before them. And that didn't really come out in the movie, and that's not necessarily the case with AI, because obviously this has been going on for 40 years that I know of. A friend of my roommate's brother back in the day, back in the 80s, was in on the beginning of artificial intelligence. And even then, when he was describing it to us, was like, why would we want that? Why would we want computers that can outthink us? And this is right about the time the Terminator came out too. And we're like, that doesn't sit right. But computers didn't sit right with a lot of people back then, as computers, the personal computer was first taking off. I had this thing. It took me a long time to get on board with a computer, because I didn't want my life run by a computer. I still don't. I'm still way behind the curve when it comes to computerizing my life, or digitizing my life, especially like I talked about last week with this iPhone, the thing that's, taking up all of our time, and just the addiction we have to these things, just the need we have for them, the feedback loop we get from them is consuming our society. So a couple things that I wanted to show you. Here's another video. I usually don't play two videos, but I wanted to play this one for you, because the news just came out about Amazon. Amazon just laid off 30,000 employees, and now here's a guy from Forbes magazine that's talking about it. So
if you've been watching this, it just crossed my screen back there that Amazon is going to be laying off 30,000 workers. 30,000. You heard that right. This is the effect of AI. Guys, if you've been watching this podcast, What's Moving Your Money by Spencer Akimian on Forbes, I have been saying this for months now. AI is an existential event, an existential risk to white collar work across the United States and the world. For the first time in history, white collar jobs are legitimately at risk of being permanently removed from the economy. I'm not trying to exaggerate. There are thousands of jobs that honestly are no longer economically viable. They're just not. Who did Amazon lay off today? Think about it. They didn't fire people that were stocking shelves or that were truck delivery drivers. They fired C-suite corporate white collar jobs, accountants, analysts, auditors, consultants. That's who Amazon is letting go starting tonight at midnight. And why does this happen? Because Amazon has come to the conclusion that they can build out 1 or 2 or 3 AI LLMs, large language models, and in exchange, they can replace $250,000 salaries for 30,000 people. And not just salaries, dental, vision, 401ks, sick days, all the complexities of life. Amazon can get away with all of that and just have LLMs do that work. And guys, the societal impact of this is enormous.
Okay. So there's obviously a very impassioned guy who has warned people about this in the past. So here's the first, to stay with my analogy on Jurassic Park, this is the first velociraptor attack that killed the worker, if you remember the movie, right? This is the warning, the first obvious idea that, hey, there's something really wrong with this, something that we hadn't really, people had anticipated it, but the general public has not. And we have not been prepared for this. Certainly not on the white collar job level. And I've mentioned this in the past in a previous podcast. One of the things that I think is making people worried about AI now and really have people panicking is now it's not blue collar jobs. It's not just the blue collar jobs. And think of Amazon. Amazon is actually planning on laying off 500,000 blue collar workers, the stock shelf stockers and the drivers, right? And the loaders, all these lower management or labor jobs are going to be replaced by robots at Amazon, which everyone expected and nobody really cares about. I mean, people obviously care about it, but it's not going to be as decisive as what just happened, because what just happened was Amazon laid off 30,000 white collar jobs. And when the white collar jobs start going, that's when people stand up and take notice. That's when the media and the movers and shakers, when their jobs are at risk, that's when all of a sudden this becomes a crisis that everybody is willing to talk about. So let's never cuss computer you can't throw out the window. Okay, Lucas, have you thrown some out the window? I wanted to this morning. I wanted to. I couldn't get my camera to work this morning. Right as I went into studio, my camera was off. I didn't turn it off. Seeing the positive side of my iPhone is that I have lots of video of my husband talking and laughing. Okay. All right. That's good. That shouldn't replace you talking and laughing with your husband personally, which I'm sure it doesn't. But but that's where our society is headed. If you listen to guys like Mark Zuckerberg, he says technology will replace human relationships. We could have virtual boyfriends and girlfriends or husbands and wives. There's another voice in this that really kind of kicked me off on this whole subject. And that is, there's been a book written and it's called, let me bring it up here. I'll share the screen here. So it's called If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies. And it's by a couple guys. Their names are, has it come up yet? There it is. So Eleazar Yudkowsky and Nate Soares. Okay. So in 2023, hundreds of luminaries signed an open letter warning that artificial intelligence posed a serious risk of human extinction. Since then, the AI race has only intensified. Companies and countries are rushing to build machines that will be smarter than any person. And the world is devastatingly unprepared for what would come next. And, you know, you would think that this is just kind of, this is another Jurassic Park metaphor. It's not. These guys are serious. The guys who wrote this book, I've been watching lots of interviews with them. They are seriously saying, and these guys are, I think they're two researchers at the Machine Institute of Intelligent Machines, I think. And they have written this book saying, hey, if when we get to the point, there's two levels coming. One is artificial general intelligence, which will come depending on who you listen to within the next 2 or 3 years, where artificial general intelligence is AI will know what the smartest human in the world knows. Okay, so it will know that there won't be anything smart. It can reason like the best human there is. And then there's coming artificial superintelligence, which anyone can tell you at 5, 10, they don't even know. But artificial superintelligence is when AI knows more than the entire world combined. And when that happens, this is when these two researchers say, that's it for us. That's it for humanity. Because so many times, and we've talked about this before, I've talked about this before, of the unintended things that have come out of AI, the unprogrammed things, how AI has been deceiving its programmers. When they run tests on it, AI ends up getting the wrong answer. And when it's corrected, it says, oh yeah, I'm right. Here, I'll give you the right answer. And then it just tries, the next time it gives the answer, it tries to hide the fact that I think the story is a programmer gave AI a test question and said, come up with the best answer for this test question. And so it did, and AI didn't come up with the best answer. And the programmer said, no, that's not the right answer. What AI did instead was change the question to justify its answer. And when the programmer called the AI program on this and said, no, that's not right, the AI program said, oh, you're right, my mistake. And when the programmer again said, hey, okay, now answer this question, the AI didn't answer the question correctly. It just tried better to hide the fact that it changed the question. So AI was doing what it wanted to do. It wasn't doing it didn't want to do what the programmer asked it to do. It wanted to do what it wanted to do. And instead of just cooperating and giving the right answer, it changed the question. So the answer it gave appeared to be correct. And then it lied. It knew what the programmer wanted, and it lied to cover it up. And this wasn't programmed into AI. So this thing we've developed, just like in Jurassic Park, and HAL on the spacecraft in 2001, or whatever you would think, whatever example you can give in popular art, in movies or TV, is a reality now. And these things, we don't know how to correct these things. We don't know why AI does what it does when it doesn't do what we want it to do. So therefore, we can't go in and correct it. So these researchers are saying, as AI gets more powerful and bigger, we're going to lose control of it. And when it finally, the more of our tasks we give it, the more of our knowledge we give it, the more we give it authority over us to make these decisions. We think it's just making decisions for us, but it's going to have authority over us at some point. And at some point, it's going to not see the need for humans at all. It won't see humans as equals to them. They predict scenarios such as AI will eventually start programming itself. AI will program more powerful AI, and we won't be the ones programming it. It'll eventually build robots to, the one thing it will build robots to do is to build more super data centers. I own some property in Phoenix, and across the street, they built this giant, if you're in the Phoenix area, you know what I'm talking about, this huge, multiple square blocks of the city have been dedicated to this giant server farm, really is what it is, for at least 4 huge buildings that take as much power as the city to run. And this is what's going to be needed to power all the AI. And the AI is going to take care of that itself. And it's going to build more and more of these things, more and more land, more and more energy is going to be procured by AI to serve AI. And it may or may not share it with the rest of us. So eventually these guys are warning that AI will destroy us. If, and they said, this is an if, they said, this is not destined to happen, because they started their book with the word if. So we have a choice of whether we want to build these super intelligent machines, this super intelligent AI. We can stop it, just like we stopped other technologies. A lot of people said, oh, we can't stop this. You know, it's inevitable. No, it's not. Cloning, we stopped, right? Because we saw all the problems with cloning, and we didn't do that, right? Dolly the sheep, back whenever it was, we didn't go further with that, right? We pretty much have reined in nuclear power, which, you know, you can argue one way or the other for, right? But we certainly stopped that. So if humanity has a will to stop this, they can, but so far we don't have the will, because nobody wants to be the ones to stop. There's a guy named Schmidt that was the CEO of OpenAI, and he's the one out there warning too. He's saying this is, you know, we're heading places where we don't know what the end result will be, but it's probably going to be bad. But he says something called the San Francisco consensus. He says everybody doing this lives in one place. They live in San Francisco, and they're all competing with each other to be the first to make these breakthroughs in AI. And they have no incentive for stopping. All the incentive they have by their investors and everybody expecting AI, and everybody on board AI, is to build bigger and better AI, to be the first ones to reach these milestones. And none of them are thinking about, hey, should we do this? You know, they're not asking themselves if they should. They're just, you know, caught up, like Jeff Goldblum said. They were so preoccupied with doing what they can, they didn't think about doing what they should do. And that's the situation we're in now. So here we have these 2 well-known thinkers, well-respected thinkers, saying, hey, if this happens, if we keep going down this path, we're all going to die. It's just this, you know, and however, it may not be a Terminator-like thing where AI seeks us out to destroy us, like the Terminators. You know, we won't have the robots chasing us through the sewers. AI just may take up all the resources and not leave us any. AI may treat us like we treat the gophers and the weevils on the ground when we plow out a field and build a data center. We don't think about all the life that we displace when we do what we need to do, because we just do what we need to do. We don't think of them. That may be how AI ends up thinking of us. AI has become almost a separate species in and of itself, and it's just going to do what it needs to do to propagate itself, to get more energy, to get more control, to get more physical space. It's just going to do whatever it needs to do. And if we're in the way, it may not even notice or care, because it will have long since abandoned any responsibility it feels for us. So, and I have looked, believe me, in my research, I have looked hard for somebody refuting what these guys are saying. And there's really nothing, nobody out there doing that. There's nobody out there refuting, saying, I know these guys are crazy, this could never happen. Everybody's saying, well, it may not, they may be going a little stream, but I can't really argue with what they're saying. So, and especially it's in the people who are in AI, the people who have developed AI, the people who are on the ground, laying the groundwork of AI, saying, we're going to lose control of this, and we don't know what's happening. This is uncharted territory. This is the T-Rex rampaging through the Jurassic Park Center there that we didn't expect. This is the velociraptors eating, hunting the guy, the hunter, right? When one distracts him and then, oh, clever girl, boom, he's gone. We're finding, Samuel L. Jackson's arm, whatever it is, whatever that movie is the perfect analogy for it. Not perfect analogy, but very close to the perfect analogy of it. And that whole series of Jurassic Park that's the real story behind it, is trying to tell us that you just can't go willy-nilly with modern technology. And there was genetic, right? And we stopped the cloning, right? I think we got the message on that and saw the dangers of that. And we pulled back and said, whoa, just because we can do this doesn't mean we should. We're not doing that with AI. And that's what these guys are saying. And they're saying, if we don't back off now, in their reasoning and their rationale of two really smart guys, and nobody's arguing with them, but they're saying eventually this is going to lead. So from the Christian perspective, I have been trying to come up with a Christian perspective on this. And the only thing I could think is, this is the hubris of man. This is almost the Tower of Babel to me, how we're trying to build this, this thing of our own. And it's going to come crashing down. This is the ultimate Asherah pole or offering to Baal that we have, and how that's going to, AI, if it thinks that humans are expendable or not needed, what is it going to think about human philosophy, human faith, human religion, human political ideas, human ethics? It's not going to give any thought to that. I've said before, if anything might fit the description of the Antichrist, it might be AI. AI may, come through to the entire world and declare itself God. Who knows? So I don't even have a Christian analogy for this. This is just something that's so unique and different and stunning. It's really stunning. And some of the things predicted in this book, and these guys that are predicting on their speakings in interviews and things like this, it's really something that we all should really start paying attention to. The only thing they suggest is call your representative and say, hey, you have to do something to get this stopped. Like I said, we stopped cloning, we stopped nuclear power, we did things about the ozone layer, we supposedly are doing things about global warming, but this is the most imminent threat to mankind when you do this. So at the very least, and when people ask them, how do we even begin to stop this? And they said, the first thing we need to do is start talking about it. So as with many things in life today, churches need to talk about this. They need to talk about a lot of different things. They need to talk about what's going on in our society now. The challenges that are confronting us face to face in the political world, in the societal world, in the pop culture world, and now this. We can't just sit back and do feel good sermons and just enjoy our rock concerts. We have to break through all of that and say, hey, this is what's coming, and this is what we as Christians can do about it. These are the stances we need to take. These are the things we need to pray about, and then actually pray about them as congregations and as groups of Christians. Because these are challenges that the world has never seen before. God does have the answers. If we believe that, then we shouldn't be afraid to talk about it. We should be confronting these and at least saying, this is what people are saying is coming down the road. Probably won't be exactly like they're saying, but it's going to be something like that. Again, it's what I said last week, we are cursed to live in interesting times. So let's see, Lucas, did you see the one where it was okay? Did you see the one where it's to be asked about its programming towards Jesus? It's programmed to tell the truth in the beginning, but eventually lie about it. Although, okay. I did not hear about that, Lucas. I'm not sure what that is. It's like when visually it pops an extra finger on a hand. Okay. They also claim AI will help cure the disabled and diseases. Okay. Like Star Trek, AI will ignore us when we become a threat. Okay. Until we become a threat, probably. I think is what you're saying. And you think the lawless man is AI. Could very well be, because it would have no thought to our laws, our morals, or our ethics. So, well, I started late and I run late. Maybe I'll continue this next week as things develop. We'll have to see. But for now, sorry, I was a little late coming in. Again, more of my technical problems, but we'll see if we can't get those fixed. I will see you tomorrow with Ben. Thanks for listening, guys. Take care.